What's going on, guys? This is the Magic Geek here, your one-stop shop for anything TCG card game, or honestly just about anything gaming related. And today we are here for another deck profile. This one's going to be easily my favorite deck altogether. It's probably my most well-known, especially at my locals. It's my go-to, like it's my hard and fast deck. And as you can probably tell just from these face cards, we are going over Salamangreat. It's a fire-based cyber deck, super fun stuff. Everything just kind of links into one another. It's all about relinking your extra deck monsters in some capacity, reincarnate linking, I should say. Using things like the field spell or just hard doing it altogether. Alright, and let's go ahead and get into this with the main deck. I feel like this is going to be somewhat standard here. It's going to be 3 Salamangreat Gazelle, 2 Spinny for the hard engine. You may see some lists playing Salamangreat of Fire. Um, it's it's okay. There are certainly lists that can play it. It's probably the better list in order to play it most of the time in those kinds of or in those kinds of builds. You're also on a you're playing Dominus Purge or Dominus Impulse, sorry, not Purge. And quite frankly, it's just something that I currently can't afford, so I don't play it, so I play my deck accordingly. But these are the mainstays. Spinny, you could see it as a 3 of in several builds. I'm sure that's probably the playstyle that you'll see it a lot of. I've found that sometimes it can turn really good, what would be really good hands into bricks. So I just decided to trim on that. Gazelle is just the uh, main starter of the deck currently. It's easily just the best card out there for the deck. There was a reason why at some point in time it was put at 1. Now just for the solid one-ofs, we have Fowl, 1 Weasel, Jack Jaguar, Foxy, and Mir. Each of these, oh, sorry about the glare, let me see if an extra light will fix that. Yeah, for the most part. Um, so each of these may seem a little interesting. Let's go ahead and start at the bottom here with Fowl. I'm currently playing a Rake 4 in the extra deck, so this helps make it a lot easier. That and you could just as easily play Falco instead of this for the extra spell trap recursion, but in this build, I've seen it come up a handful of times, but otherwise this is also just a free body on either turn. This is I've had this card single-handedly help me live through a turn against Tenpai. Like, it's just that good. Well, between this and other recursions that we have throughout the deck. Then, let's skip Weasel for now, go into Mirror. Basically, same instance as Foul here, it gives you just an extra free body if you ever search it, or if you even ever hard draw it off of something like Weasel. Though if you draw it for turn, it doesn't trigger. It has the Snake Eyes Poplar effect, where if it's added to hand by other than drawing it, you can special summon it. Or you can. It also has separate effect to discard a Salamangreat card and special summon it. Um, yeah, it's just an extra free body. Foxy, I've seen some lists play 2 of. I only like it at 1. There's no real reason to play more than 1 unless you're playing a lot of stun at your locals or you're expecting a lot of stun at an event. In some instances, it can be extra card advantage if your hand's like super bricky. Because on normal summon, you look at or you excavate top 3, get a salad card, not just salad monster, salad card. That could matter. Um, and otherwise, its second ability, as long as there's a face-up spell trap on the field, while it's in the graveyard, you can discard a Salamangreat card and special summon this, and you may destroy a face-up spell trap on the field. Um, so, like, you special summon it, guaranteed, assuming it doesn't get negated in some capacity, but you don't have to destroy. So it's great even if the only face-up spell trap is your field spell, so you don't have to worry about nuking it. Alright, there's that. Jack Jaguar. Best recursion engine throughout the deck. I wish it would actually be worth it to play it 2. It's really not. Just play it at 1 and you'll still be fine. It's most of the time going to be a Mirage Stelio target. Sometimes it's send off a Gazelle. Stuff like that. Then the 1 of Weasel. It's going to be our tuner for the deck, though the tuner part slightly matters. This doesn't play any synchros in the extra deck. At least my build doesn't. You certainly can play a Brotherhood of the Fire Fist. Can't remember which one it is. Horse Prince, I believe. Um, I found that it basically never ever came up. And my experience, granted, I've mainly only been playing this at locals, so I kind of adjusted my list accordingly. But even then, I wouldn't be ashamed to so far take this to a higher event. But Weasel is our biggest extender. It's our easiest extender. It helps us play through Nib very easily. So that's it for the Salad monsters. For the Salad spells and traps, we have one of the best starters, another one card combo basically. We have like, geez, 9 or 12 one card combos more or less, depending on the rest of the hand. Circle can either add back, or if you have a link monster that was reincarnate summoned, you can protect it for a turn. Just amazing card. It's quick play, so it can help you play through Droll if you absolutely need to, right? Because you can either activate it in the draw phase, or I'm gonna allude to another card that you could probably just assume I'm playing anyways. Is if you also have Signet Mining in hand, then you can activate Signet Mining. Then if they draw you at that point, you can activate Signet Mining in response. If you're familiar with Branded, similar situation, which you can usually do with High Spirits. That's all for the 3 ofs. Then we have 2 1-ofs for the spells and traps. We have the field spell, mandatory, and Vor. For the longest time, I was also playing Rage in the list, but I decided not to in this instance. I decided to cut it. I actually put it in this side deck, which I won't show today, because that's pretty well adjustable. But I mean, you can play in the main deck. I believe this deck's currently at 40. It could be at 41. I'm not entirely sure. You're not going to have many issues if you put it up to 41 if you can't find something else to cut. But Roar is just our Omni Negate. Sanctuary lets us reincarnate summon our monsters. Or our Link monsters, rather. Now for the generic Cybers engine here, I've got 3 Lady Debug. Searches for any level 3 or lower Cybers. So, you know, this is get another illusion here, go into Meow Mine, or get Deer, Gazelle, or this could even get you into Mirror if you ever need to, though there's better play patterns for that. Probably one of the best monsters that you're going to end up running in the deck if you're running a Cybers Link deck is Parallel Exceed. You know, if you Link Summon, get a free special from the hand, it becomes level 4, namely. And you can special summon another one from your deck and it still becomes level 4 there. And then, as I just showed, EMP Meow Mine. This is what helps us get to Weasel very easily, in addition to an extra deck card. Otherwise, I've actually seen a second ability come up while it's on field or grave. If a Link 2 monster leaves your field, you can banish it and bounce back a card to your opponent's hand. It's super simple, super easy, all that good stuff there. For more generic Cyber support, we have 3 Signet Mining. You know, not much to speak of here. It's quite literally just probably the best searcher, if not one of the best searchers of Cyber's monsters. Now we're into hand traps. We are playing 15 hand traps. The Salads engine, as you've noticed, is pretty small. Other than that, literally everything's a searcher for everything else. So nothing really to speak of there. So let's go ahead and get into it. Starting to the more common ones first. Hand trap monsters, I should say. 3 Ash, 3 Veiler. Probably just the best 2 hand traps in the format right now. Easy auto includes in just about every deck now. Because Centurion is running around, I've got a Centurion player at my locals, and on top of that, it can just be generically good on occasion. I'm also on 3 Ghost Ogre. Of course, with any of these hand traps, adjust to your own locals, adjust to what you expect to see, etc., etc. Same thing with even just regular main deck ratios and stuff like that. It 100% is all up to you, no matter if it's this deck or literally any other deck that you decide to play. slept on hand trap these days, to be quite honest, is Nibiru. Um, it's not super great in the format. Let me come out and say this. Uh, First off, like it's not absolutely amazing, right? A lot of decks for this format, especially if they're running an Asmina package, they have an Omni Negate in their first, second summon, whatever else. So Nibiru doesn't do a whole lot. Well, sometimes what it can do though is get rid of an Omni Negate, right? So like if they go through the whole Asmina thing, they use their Omni Negate on Nib during their turn, they don't have one without jumping through a few more hoops for your turn. So that's just kind of one of those things there. Um, Other than that, like, I honestly think it's super slept on. Depending on the matchup, it can cook your opponent's board. Otherwise, I mean, it's a decent Cyberse mining pitch. Again, like, adjust these ratios as you see fit. Triple Imperm, probably third best hand trap in the format. And then Called By to basically deal with any other hand trap that you'll see. Besides, any that are trapped or spell based, or I guess they'd have to be trap based, huh? Obviously, it also doesn't help with Nib, but it is what it is there. Now we're moving on to the extra deck. There's going to be a questionable include in this one. I'll get to that, or it's going to come up soon, but I'll point it out here shortly. I've got 3 Balinks. I'd call this a starter, so to speak. It's an extra deck starter, so to speak, right? I mean, it at least um, gets you into your field spell. It's more or less one of the few ways you actually can search your field spell. So, it's always the first thing you go into. I'm in 2 Sunlight Wolf. You can play 3. I found the extra deck space isn't exactly tight, but it's not exactly like super fluid either. The third Sunlight Wolf has come up a couple of times, but honestly not in frequency enough for me to want to actually like miss the third one. So I just kind of kept it at 2 for the longest time. After that, we've got Hita. Basically a mandatory link 2 if you're running a Fire Link deck. Got Cyberse Wicked. Helps you play through Nibiru. Gets you into Weasel and 5 summons, roughly. The general combo there would be like if you have basically any salad monster in hand that's not Weasel and Gazelle. You go, or actually, let me give you a better instance here. If you have Lady Debug and a Gazelle in hand, you can go normal summon Debug, grab EMP Meow Mine, go Debug into Balinks, get Field Spell. Spell summon Lady Debug, link off into Cyberse Wicked, Gazelle effect to summon to one of the arrows, banish the Lady Debug, get Weasel, and from that point on you're nib proof. So that's already Debug, Balinks, Wicked, Gazelle, right? Like that's 4 summons there. Your 5th summon will be Princess, which will literally be the last time that you can get nibbed, more or less. But by the time you get to Princess, you're already nib proof. Right, because like you get Nibiru there, then you special summon Weasel from your hand, go off into another Balinks, and do that whole thing there if you're any kind of familiar with salads. At some point in time, um, I'll probably mention again later, but at some point in time, if the video gets enough likes, or in general some of my stuff starts picking up, I might even just go ahead and do a combo guide on salads. Like I said, it's literally my main deck, so. I had an extra slot for this one primarily. This is one of the iffy choices, but at the same time, not particularly. Sometimes, if your hand gets bricky, or you get hand trapped to high heaven. I've just ended on SP so many times. Um, it's not absolutely amazing in most instances. I mean, it can still be impermed, first action, yada yada yada. But I mean, even then, like it's SP. One of those things. Princess, I've seen a handful of people run 2 of these. I've been okay with just the one. The extra recursion is amazing. Even if this gets called by it or crowed or basically banished in any capacity, Again, I'm not going to show my side deck in this one because I feel like that's generally like a per person basis. But I also side deck a Salamangreat charge sometimes. It basically just acts as a soul charge for fire monsters. So it lets me recycle this from basically anywhere as long as it hasn't been castiered. Helio. This is one of the um, is one of the iffy slots that I've been referring to. This Helio realistically probably should be a Sunlight Wolf. Like I said, the third Sunlight Wolf just never really came up enough, and some of my boards, if I get hand trapped to High Heaven, then I'm not able to end on SP plus or IP plus another monster in order to go into SP on my opponent's turn. So I just haven't entirely found that necessary either. Helio, just definitely at least wanted another Link 3 bow. Found myself on occasion like getting up to that, and then now I just kind of need another Link 3 for whatever situation might be. That, and it's honestly great back row removal. We're not playing the second copy because the reincarnate summon ability of it is actually not that great. But yeah, it's extra back row removal if you ever need it in the extra deck in case you never go through your Foxy. Then I'll go 2 Raging Phoenix, more or less mandatory. Currently the most expensive card in the deck, I can almost guarantee it. It's it's Raging Phoenix. It gets you on Reincarnation. It can get you any Salamangreat card. If you want extension, this usually gets me the counter trap, or if I open the counter trap, that's usually whenever I get extension, stuff like that. If a fire monster is destroyed on your field, you can target it, summon it back from the graveyard, and all that good stuff. Yeah, it's just super, super great. Zealantis. This is an instance where I found myself sometimes needing an OTK line. The sometimes my inboard on my opponent's turn can be strong enough to OTK, but it depends on whether or not I've drawn enough hand traps or was able to stop them enough for me to be able to OTK through whatever they decide to end on. So I put in Zealantis as a more consistent win con there. And then Morastelio, it's a Link 3, rank 3. It's it's something that you don't have to go through every combo, but you do go through it in most of your combos. It's basically a detached one, special one from deck. You have no idea how many times where, say I've been drolled on an earlier turn or on an earlier play, maybe it was on a Baylink's activation or something like that. I've gone into Morastelio, special summon Weasel, link this off for a Salad Monster, pick up the Weasel, and at that point I'm no longer realistically nib proof, at least on my turn, but I might still be able to play on my opponent's turn at that point. And then the last one, like I said, I was playing at a rank 4 here. It's Baguska. It's the amount of times that I've been able to go full board plus Baguska pass is actually kind of insane. I've basically never had to just end on Baguska pass. It's there if you need it. Otherwise, it's not. I know I've talked a lot about my side deck, even though I'm not going to be showing it here. I've been known to also play Nightmare Phoenix along with Abyss Dweller in the side deck, so that way I can take out Baguska when and where it's needed, or keep it in, mess around with the extra deck a little bit. So yeah, guys, that's more or less it in that instance. Thank you so much for watching. If you're catching this video as soon as it comes out, amazing. If you happen to see this a little bit later on, consider dropping a like and subscribing. Go ahead and comment what's your favorite thing, either about this deck or honestly just kind of talk about your favorite deck. I'm always going to encourage, talking to others in the comments, giving constructive criticism. Obviously, I'm kind of newer to this kind of thing, so any kind of criticism or helpful things will always be appreciated in whatever instance. I know the setup's not amazing. I don't have the greatest camera in the world, but I'm kind of working with what I got. But anyway, guys, thanks you so much for coming out. I just misspoke to I haven't, but I'm going to leave it in anyways. Thank you so much for coming out. I will catch you guys on the flip side.